Yuba-Sutter.Live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Is this card ready? Do you need me to hammer again?
Okay.
Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and recall back to open session. Can we go ahead and stand for the pledge, please? Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any requests for agenda reorganization? Okay. There's nothing to report out from closed session. Go ahead and go to reports and information. Williams Act quarterly report.
This is our quarterly report, and there were no complaints at this time for the last quarter ending in June.
Awesome, thank you. Grand jury report.
Thank you. As shared with you, the grand jury did a Safer Streets, Safer Kids report. They visited Terra Buena and Bridge Street, as well as Franklin Elementary, which is not in our district, but did visit Franklin Elementary, and then had recommendations and findings in their report. I shared that with you. Well, it was sent to you all previously, I believe, in June. We're obligated to respond to the findings and the recommendations 60 days after the issuance of the report. So I prepared a reported findings and recommendations to be sent to Judge Ashby. I shared that with you. What I wanted to just call your attention to is that in the penal code, there is a requirement for us to acknowledge that the findings and we agree with them, or that we partially agree with them, or we disagree. So in the report, there are those that were, we completely agreed, those findings are true. There are those that we partially agreed to, and then I don't think there was ones that we just we didn't agree with. So I want to share that I also met with Steve Smith with the County of Sutter and Robert Bendorf, the interim city manager, because they also will be responding on behalf of those agencies regarding just some of the findings regarding the signage and what needed to be done. So their reports will be separate from ours. Collectively, we talked about some of the things that they've already corrected. There were things that we are outside our jurisdiction that I wanted the judge to be aware of, that we don't control the signage, or we don't trim the bushes, and so they're going to be maintaining those, and again, they'll be responding. You'll see their responses because they will go public. They have 90 days to respond, so they will be responding as well. In terms of the recommendations, there were, the first recommendation was about some sort of automated reporting system that would go directly to PD for bus accidents. We aren't under the jurisdiction of the police department. When there's a bus accident and students are involved, we have to call the highway patrol, and the highway patrol comes out. There's a whole protocol and a whole list of things that our transportation has to do. So I reported that, and that we don't also have the finances to create an automated system, and I'm not really sure the rationale behind a system like that, but again, I did clarify that again, why we would be following all of the transportation rules that govern school transportation. The other recommendation was related to training of our crossing guards. We agree that we will hold, and Justin Cutts will hold an annual crossing guard training, and then as new crossing guards are hired before they can start, they'll go through training. And then also there was a comment about vests and stop signs. All of our traffic, all of our crossing guards are provided those, but I think we need to remind them to always wear their vests, make sure they've got their stop signs. But those are, they're sitting in Justin's office, so I'm not sure why that was a comment or a recommendation made. And then the other one was the Safe Routes to Schools grants, and so we are not in control of the structures or the sidewalks. We do partner with the city and county when they apply for those and write letters of support. But the other comment was about the wellness component that's related to safe schools. We partner with Blue Zones, and so we have walking school buses. But we'll continue to pursue ways to continue to encourage our families to walk and bike to school through other measures. We don't have to go through a grant in order to do that. Chelsea Slattery Holton has a wellness committee that we, certainly Blue Zones is there, and the city and county that we can discuss, encouraging that to happen. Because part of our congestion problem is because what's happened over time, and I was sharing this with the city and county, is back in my day, we always walked to school. But what we're finding is parents, even if they're a few blocks away, are choosing to drive their kids to school. Mm-hmm. And our schools are many of them are in neighborhoods, two-lane streets, and so that can cause some of the congestion. And then, we continue to educate our parents about safe driving and, following the rules of driving. The city will come out, PD will come out, and Sheriff's Department will come out to help encourage parents not to violate traffic rules. But it happens, and so we'll continue to educate our families, encourage our families to walk and bike to school through our bike rodeos and walking school buses. So that was my response to Judge Ashby, the grand jury report.
My comment on that is I live about a block and a half away from Lindcrest Elementary. And when we first moved here, all the little neighborhood gates were open before and after school, so the kids could, it wasn't that kids could only be dropped off and picked up in front of the school. There were other access points. And I understand that those were closed. I think they were closed during COVID or whatever, but they've never been opened back up. And I know for a fact that would relieve some of the congestion because Phillips is a very narrow 2-lane road, and it has a lot of issues. I avoid leaving the house at certain times just because of that. So I know, if there was an emergency on Phillips Road at certain times of day, and an ambulance needed to get there, somebody would die because the ambulance would not be able to get there.
And that is so, and I do remember that because I worked at Lindcrest back in the day when those gates were open, and I think for safety purposes, they also had locked those gates in some of the cases. So when you look at,
but if they could be open just a little bit before school and a little bit after school. And
that would solve the Lindcrest issue, but at some of our sites, there's only, the entrances are very limited, and so there's no way to open up multiple gates, because there's only one way into the school.
But so at the schools where there are neighborhood gates, maybe we could think about open them back up, and then make a big production about, hey, you can walk to school now because this gate is open, and
And partly I think that the Lindcrest, and I know the reason why, was there were so many entrances that they couldn't control who was coming onto campus.
Yeah.
So
and I understand that. You'd have to have somebody there at the beginning of, while the gates open,
and then
either before and after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it definitely, those are the things that we can help with the congestion. I completely understand.
Well, on Butte House Road, that's a horrible road. And for kids to walk and ride their bike on that road, the cars are just, because there's no sidewalks.
Well,
It's still rural.
There's no bike lanes.
There are no bike lanes.
Yeah, the people are trying to get them out there.
They drive like maniacs down that road. We used to walk down to the museum. We used to take the third graders and walk down to the museum. We had to stop. It was too dangerous to walk them down to the museum because the cars just, the traffic got too bad. And so the walking and the riding the bikes on Butte House Road is,
And I think that that's where the city and county will be responding to the Safe Routes to Schools in terms of the access of sidewalks and bike lanes. Yeah, but I agree.
but they have done a lot. She's done a lot to improve the traffic through the parking lot and stuff to drop kids out of it. And of course, now the buses come through on that other side, so I feel like it's better than it was when I was teaching there, for
Yeah,
sure.
they definitely have done some things, and I was speaking about Lindcrest, and they had talked about, you know, parents driving into the median lanes, and so at Lindcrest, they had stuck the divider in place, and someone went and cut them all down.
Well, that's because you couldn't get through there. I mean, when we're trying to drive our truck with the fifth wheel, they wouldn't
wouldn't
fit.
So I think some of those things, so the city and county are working with us to try to, but I appreciate, because the principals go through a lot of time to try to figure out, you know, entrance and exits and to try to, you know, only turn right and, so. they
Well, and I know their crossing guard has the vest
Yes,
on.
good.
She has the vest on.
Yeah, good to know. So that will be submitted on our behalf to Judge Ashby tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have one comment from the public on an item not on the agenda. If we could read that, please.
Yeah, just a second.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll go ahead and recognize Mrs. McCauley.
The Brown Act, specifically Government Code, Section 54954.2, provides that no action or discussion shall be taken on any item unless it is adequately described in a timely posted agenda. Accordingly, though public may comment on matters within the board's jurisdiction that do not appear on the agenda, the board cannot respond to such comments without running the risk of deliberating or initiating discussion on topics not properly before the board. Given the prohibitions set forth in the Brown Act and the risks associated with responding to public comments, the board does not respond to the community's questions or comments. The board will respect the rights of the public to express their viewpoints on matters within the board's jurisdiction. However, comments that are defamatory or that violate the privacy rights of any students or individuals may not be protected by law. The board shall not permit any disturbance or willful interruption of board meetings.
I am not going to interrupt.
I would imagine.
Okay, I'm here to talk about the directories that you have on the various websites. The district website, each individual school website, and you click on staff directory, and up until at least a couple of months ago, there was a place for each staff where you just clicked on email, and so you could send them an email, and it was automatic. And something changed, I don't know what, but now if you look at any of the directories, if I wanted to email something to Mrs. Osumi, her email address isn't there. And you can look anytime you want, you know, on your computer. So you go in, you see the staff directory, you see their name, and you see the school phone number. So you can't communicate with them directly. If I wanted to send Jen Cates an email, maybe it's J. Cates. I don't know. Not every staff person has a first initial last name. Several staff people have various email addresses that don't correlate to that. And then just to add to the overall reason, you think that communication's getting easier with technology and everything, and now this has been more difficult. And on your district website, it says, preparing the foundation for each student to build tomorrow's world. And email is how you communicate nowadays. And it's made more difficult, a lot more difficult. So I just want to bring that to the district's attention if they haven't already considered it or had any complaints about it. And maybe then they can put that back on where you can just automatically email a staff person. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, and by the way, could I get a response from someone after they look into this My contact information's there on that paper. You know, I don't know that it has to be brought up at a board meeting or anything, but just to see what you guys decide about it, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, consent agenda. Are there any questions? If not,
Yes.
okay.
I have just a couple of questions.
Okay.
For D, the approval of the CTE instructional materials. Now I saw this is more of a procedural question, but I saw the multilingual brochure stating that the public display of textbooks were available from May 28th to June 28th. My procedural question with regards to D is, where is this posted, and were board members notified about it? Because I don't remember getting this. I'm just curious.
They're posted at the district office and at the high school site, so they have classes.
Okay, but just like a physical piece of paper on a bulletin board, is
No,
that?
the actual textbooks. So we have to, by head code, we have to do the textbooks, they have to be done.
Right. I mean, what I'm saying is, where are we posting this notification
It's
that?
online, it's online, it's at the school sites, and it's here at the district office.
Okay. And then, I guess as a board member, personal preference, I'd love it if we got these sent to us, email, hey, by the way, this will be coming down the pipe. So we can come in and take a look at those. And then with regards to with the new contracts, I noticed number 3, which is our F3, doesn't have a fiscal impact. And I imagine that's not because F3 just loves us so much that they're willing to do everything pro bono, which would make total sense because we're great. But I understand why there's not a dollar amount in there per se. However, how do you budget for that when there's not a budget for that?
So that's a good point. So, as you know, this isn't a contract for a specific thing, right? It's
Right.
legal services as needed. And so how we budget for it is we just look at our historical trends to see kind of where we're going, where we think we're going to land. And sometimes we might modify that if we have a particular event that we think is going to take up a lot of legal, but typically it's just a historical trend. So we could have, I guess, put a
Ballpark?
estimated range of historical. Yeah, that could have been in there.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Just for the future.
Sure.
And then the other question, this demolition of these modulars.
Mm-hmm.
So these are not usable anymore,
They
the
are
ones
not
in
usable.
April Lane?
No, not at all. They are done.
Okay, which I believe
Yeah.
April Lane and Central Gaither.
Yes.
But 50,000, so that's what, 25,000 per?
Yeah.
It's a lot to demolish.
But that's prevailing wages, correct?
It should. Yes.
Yeah, it would be.
It would be. That would be prevailing wages.
That's why it's so much.
The
It's
haul
not
away.
ridiculous.
But they have to haul it away and all of that,
It's
that
all
includes
that.
all of that.
Yes.
Right.
It's still,
Does it also include like the pad that they were on, like, or,
I think the pad's going to stay, so they're not hammering up the slab or anything like that. No.
okay.
It's
I'm
just
thinking
demolition.
like, man, I need to get a mallet and a hammer.
It's a lot of work.
You'll do it for $25,000.
Yeah, or
She'd do it for
you know there are places you
I know,
go
it's
to pay.
I know.
You pay to entertain a group as team building to demolition room.
Well, I say that might be some PD
That's
days.
a good now we're talking, man.
Like sign the waivers and like open school. Like let's think out of the box in a budget
That would
tight
actually
year.
probably be a great thing to do on a PD day.
Yeah.
The teachers who are frustrated, get them.
That's right. You know, they could, like disfigure it first. Like
Spray paint, do some
yeah,
artwork.
bring your own safety goggles.
Yeah. You know, it costs a lot to haul junk away. It's ridiculous.
It is.
That's crazy.
Just to have someone come haul junk from your house, it's ridiculous.
So the good news is those are all my questions. I mean, for this part,
Can I get a motion, please?
I make the motion we approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, on a motion by member Ciola, second by member Pretty, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Action A, real property buyer or agent agreement.
So as you know, the district is in need of finding a home, a district office home for centralized employees. DCG Strategies has helped us with a feasibility study in regards to some options, and then this is really a contract that will allow them to represent us in a transaction. So that's what this contract is, and we're asking for approval of this contract.
Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by member Lamb, second by member Bonsley, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. B, a Lobo extended learning after school program.
Hi, I have the next 9 action items. This will be, here we go. I have a lot of tabs open right now. The first one is for our after school program. We work with Alivo and they do 4 days a week, 3 hours a day, 24 coaches after school sports with our students in the after school program. So this is for a contract for 1 year, utilizing our after school fund or funding for next year. So I seek approval for that to continue into 25-26 school year.
Kids seem to really, really like their programs, don't they? I mean, we sometimes have had waiting lists for kids to be able to participate, is that correct?
And they were doing summer school too.
Yeah, we did social intercession and intercessions.
I guess my question is just with the state budget and the federal withholding. I know a lot of states have found their after-school programs are at risk. What is our situation with regards to that?
At this time, it's not affected, so this is purely state funding, and it's not affected at all.
Okay.
Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve.
Second.
A motion by member Pretty, second by member Ciola, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. C, Epic special ed staffing.
We have a shortage of staff in special education, so we're trying to work through some contractors to start the school year with being fully staffed. So the next 6 items will be addressing that. So the first one through Epic special education staffing would be for 1 school nurse, 1 mild and modest pet teacher, and 1 certified occupational therapist, and 1 speech and language pathologist. That would be through Epic staffing.
Any questions?
Yeah, my question is not with regards to Eaton, but with regards to these vendors that we're using. Is there a reason or a benefit to a pluralistic approach, or was that how it had to happen?
It's because of availability. We have a lot of there's a lot of districts and NPS schools right now who are trying to staff their sites, and there's just a shortage in California of special education service providers. And so at this point, we have used many of these vendors, and it's who do we have available to staff our
For this area specifically.
Okay.
Ideally, it'd be nice to have one. Ideally, it'd be nice to just fill your positions and not have to go through contractors at all. But
Right.
we're in a position where we have to start school and we have a number of open positions.
And on these contracts, we can cancel them at any time, right?
Right.
Like pending we find a candidate.
I think within
Yep.
30-day notice we can exit the contracts.
And we have these positions posted, so as we interview, our hope is to,
And all the, for this particular, and I'll probably ask the same thing for any of the other staffing questions, but for the 4 job descriptions that we are having filled by Epic, they're all in person,
yes,
including this SLP too?
yes.
Cool, it's awesome.
And I also have Liz David if there's any other specific questions.
I don't have any
Sure.
specific ones.
Okay.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
And a motion by member Ciola, second by member Lamb, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. D, there are staffers.
There are staffers, similar, this is for 1 SLP.
In person?
Yep.
Sweet.
I move that we approve.
Second.
Motion by member Pretty, second by member Lamb, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. E, Eaton Interpreting Services.
This is to provide ASL interpreting to DHH students. We have 4 students and they require 2 interpreters per day for the school year. And so this is to move into a contract with Eaton Interpreting Services for those 4 students.
But there's also a video component to that.
No, that's on the contract, but it's in person. Yeah, they have to be, they're in the classroom with the students all day.
Can I ask a question? Maybe Mrs. Davitt, this might come to you. Now, Sutter County Superintendent of Schools is our regional provider for DHH services. Can you maybe explain to me why we are the ones that are hiring the interpreter and it's not something that's coming out of Sutter County?
I can do that. So right now, these are 4 students who though anticipated that they're going to be returned to the district fully included. And so they no longer will require the SDC component of the deaf and hard of hearing program. So it's basically, like a speech and language student being served by them, being returned to the district. So it becomes our obligation to provide those services for the kids. So they will not be served any longer by the county. They will be Yuba City Unified students completely.
So they'll be integrated
They'll get
into
some
it.
itinerant services, but yes, they'll be fully
Fully
included.
integrated.
Will they,
Interesting. I don't, okay.
I know that recently ASL, I don't know how recent it was, it's been a while, has been included in foreign language studies, ASL has been. And I know they teach it at Yuba College. Have we actually posted this and looked for interpreters to hire?
I don't,
So
And would they be
unfortunately-
considered classified or
So
certificate?
that would be our long-term goal as students are being returned and at one point we did have an ASL class taught here at the high school and we did have some of our own interpreters, but because of the timing, we weren't notified, and again, the IPs have not even been held, so they might stay in the county programs, but we need to anticipate that they're going to be returned to us, and so ideally, had we known 6 months ago that this was gonna happen, we would have done a job description, tried to hire our own, and so ideally, that's what we'd like to move towards, but right now, because of the timing, we don't have enough time to get that done.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I
And you said
understand.
this is for 4 contractors?
no,
For
sorry.
4 students.
For students.
It'd be 8 interpreters.
Oh, okay. Thus the $1.3 million price tag.
Yes.
Okay.
And if they were hired as interpreters, they'd be classified. If they were hired as teachers, they'd be certificated.
Okay. All right,
You
thank
know,
you.
some of these,
Oh, Liz
I
has
was
some.
gonna just make a
sorry,
point to, when we talk about
do you wanna come up?
the program.
Sorry, you wanna come up there?
That's good.
Thank you, sorry.
That's okay.
One more point about the interpreters is it's not just getting somebody who's completed the coursework, but they actually delineate the type of interpreters they need. And county has delineated that they need an educational interpreter, which
Right.
requires more training than most of the students who come out of Yuba College have.
Okay. All right. Well, and that makes total sense. It's just, I was just wondering, I'd always rather hire people than
Us
Absolutely.
too.
go
Us
through
too.
the service. So.
Sure.
Okay, I can ask my questions later, it's fine. Maybe I have a couple more points of clarification, but it's not appropriate right now. Can I get a motion?
I move to approve.
Second. Motion by member Bonslett, second by member Lamb, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. F, Comp Health, medical staffing.
Similar to one of our previous contractors, this is provide a SLP services.
In person?
Yes.
Wow, so many people here. Wow. You know, it was like a completely different show last year where like
Oh.
these agencies, it was virtual or it was, we'll send you a slip-up or whatever, but that's awesome. 3 different agencies with SLPs in person. Any questions?
And everyone's looking for these SLPs.
Yeah.
across the area.
Commodity, yeah.
I move that we approve.
Second.
Motion by member Pretty, second by member Cecile, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Aya Hell, contract.
This is for 3 special education teachers to contract. Like I said, we have these positions already posted, we just have a lack of applicants.
Do we know where we are placing these?
Yes.
I guess my question would be if there's other support staff that like other special ed teachers on site, just in case, like for those people who are contract agency people to understand what our practices are of like clerical or whatever obligations that our case managers have. Is that where these people are gonna get staff, where there's another person, or is it?
Versus a singleton.
Yeah, versus a singleton, but I understand sometimes it is what it is, right?
I'll let her.
Just hang out up here for a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll hang up.
She's getting her steps in.
Yeah, most of our sites, we no longer have singletons, so I believe the majority of them are on sites where there are other ed specialists. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I'm trying to think of
I
a
think there's
singleton.
a site that doesn't have to.
No, I think the only one is Lincoln, and that's one of our teachers who's been there for many years. And actually, we're bringing on another SDC classroom there, so they're no longer technically a singleton.
Okay.
And then we also have our program specialists and the coordinators who are prepared to help them with, the SACE components and reporting components.
Cool. Thank you. Can I get a motion if there's no questions?
I make a motion we approve.
Second.
And a motion by member Cianciola, second by member Quilty. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. H, faxes.
Our last service agreement with Faxes Education Staffing, this would be specifically for one SLEPA and one SLP and 3 special education teachers.
That's what I was talking about, like, there's a lot of SLP, but we're getting them from 3 different companies.
Yeah.
Because not one company has like,
Competition with districts and other non-public service agencies.
When you have to get providers who want to come to the Yuba-City area.
Some might want to stay in Roseville, they might want to be in Sacramento.
well, right,
Yeah.
but like if, Sarah has people that wanna come to Yuba City, they just don't have enough,
Yeah.
Yes,
or
They
Epic.
have one.
and
And everyone's kind of competing for that one, and they go where it's going to be the most conducive for them to work.
and
So
what
they
I
live in
and what I'm
Roseville, they're gonna
learning
work
is,
in Roseville.
for instance, if I'm an SLP, I would have a recruiter, and then my recruiter goes out and they will talk to their faxes, like Tino, and so the recruiter and my recruiter from faxes talk, and then Tina would call me to interview, and so it is kind of a different.
Holy cow, is there
dynamic.
also a draft, like the number
It
one
feels
draft
that
pick in SLP?
I think this.
And what they
it
do
can
is
be.
because they will ask, so if I've been contacted, where would you like to work, where would you like to live? Do you wanna live in Southern California, do you wanna live in the Bay Area? So then if I say I only wanna work in the Bay Area, they will only have me interview with Bay Area schools. So that's kind of the situation where a lot of the candidates Liz has been hiring have some tie to the area, whether they went to Chico State or family here or close by, but
But they're only contractors, which means they're like, the minute we get somebody else, they're gone. So
They
they're
understand.
almost like glorified temps, right?
But the
Yes.
issue is that there's such a shortage is that even if you were to say, I don't need you in 30 days, I'm gonna be placed somewhere, I could be placed in state, out of state, there's so many, there's such a high need right now.
What are their qualifications? Are they credentialed?
Yes, they are. They have to be credentialed
Oh, yeah,
through the
this is
state of
California.
California.
Then why don't they just quit and come back and teach?
That's a good question. I think you get some people who just like to travel. They like the traveling aspect.
And work when they wanna work.
I have a couple
My
that are
question is about
retired.
what's going on with the universities and the state colleges in terms of the training. Is there a shortage of?
There is a shortage of professors to teach the programs, and so the number of candidates that are being accepted into the master's program has declined significantly. So when I went through, there was a large number. They're probably, I don't know the number now, but the programs have also been, some of the programs have been eliminated because they're not running them.
They can't fill the
Shortage of
spots.
professors, not enough program for graduate students. The graduate students are fighting to get into programs. A lot of them are going out of state, a lot of them are going to online programs, because there's just not, they can't get into the programs any longer like they used to.
What a bummer.
I'm just really appreciative of the fact that you guys went out and found agencies that can bring these providers in person.
This has been doing this all summer long.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I've been doing
it's,
this since March.
when you think about, like, it just shows like that we're doing what's in the best interest of the students, and we're trying our best to make it work, you know? And so I appreciate the hard work.
We both went to the job fairs.
Yeah.
Chico and Sac State, I think you went to National, and
Yeah.
there's a shortage.
I mean, these are the cards we're dealt, right? Like, we don't have candidates that are applying for these positions, and until we do, we have to make do with what's out there, and I appreciate the fact that we're not settling for something that's online. These kids are getting in-person instruction, and these are most most needs kids, you know? And so highly impacted, so I just appreciate that. Thank you.
And just so the board knows, we're also trying to grow our own. We have 2 people who have been classified. I have an aide who completed their bachelor's and now is going in as an intern, and we've offered her an intern position. And then we've had a SLIPA, same thing, where she's been accepted into a teaching program, and she's coming back to us as
I think that's one of the best things we can do. I mean, one of the things I'm most proud of about this district is we have our own induction program for new teachers, and to grow our own is, you know, I mean, people who love this community are willing to stay in this community, so that's our best, I think. So if we look within, find those people who have a lot of potential, and then just really kind of encourage them, and then help them, support them, whether financially, emotionally, whatever, to get through that so that they'll stay here.
Thank you. Any other comments? Can we get a motion?
Move that we approve.
Second.
A motion by member Pretty, a second by member Ciaciola. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Davitt. I MOU between Sutter County, Superintendent of Schools, and YCSD for the expanded learning support.
Last year, in January, we entered into a contract for a semester to work with Sutter County Superintendent of Schools to support our after-school programs. As we had a retiree last year, and we're still trying to fill positions, so this is to help continue to support our program with implementation, coaching, mentoring, with their after-school program, with ours.
Can I get a motion?
I move to approve.
Second. Motion by member Bonslett, second by member Lamb. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. J, non-public school contracts.
Entering into 4 contracts with Cinnamon Hills, Acadian, Pine Quest, and Rising Star Study Academy. That's a new one in Sutter County, this county, to support our students' special education services who have additional needs.
So, for Rising Stars Sped Academy, there's quite a discrepancy between student A and student B. Student B through F all have a similar cost. Student A is nearly twice as much. So,
Probably individual like services and stuff. Probably more, might be a one-on-one, could be OT. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. It depends, there's a base rate where you calculate daily what they need, and there's certain educational components included in that. Some of our students, because of their significant needs, need a one-on-one. Some of them, as Board Member Dami said, need OT, speech. All of those things come at a different cost, so it really depends on the needs of each individual student.
okay, thank you. And then the other ones, are these individual students? Because I see Rising Star has it listed out, but Cinnamon Hills just has a $250,000 there. So is that?
That is a residential program, and what that is, it's similar to the non-public schools, except the student resides in that program, so that's why it is significantly more expensive.
So we're paying for a boarding school for one student?
I would
Specialized school.
definitely not consider this a boarding school, but
they're living
but
there.
they are living there.
They
And that
What's the
aspect,
difference?
It really is based on the needs, and those are NPSs have very significant needs. These are students who have even more significant needs.
So NPS is like, it's a traditional school day essentially, right?
Mhm.
But a residential facility that student requires around the clock support and care, which is, I guess in the aspect
But
of.
wouldn't that be healthcare, not education?
It could be a lot of, it's more complex than that.
Really
And
depends on
sometime-
what their needs are, what their needs are, the IEP.
Because I understand us being on the hook for the education, right? But then there's home or healthcare, right? And that's not really education. So are they in school around the clock or?
What they are, they have an educational day, but then there's portions where they are not. The contract for Cinnamon Hills is not, it's not medical. I would say it borders on, I don't know, I would classify it as more behavioral needs where there's, the needs of the students are so significant that that we are unable to safely transport the student to and from school. They need, it basically amounts to a lockdown facility. Rather than, that's how I would classify it.
But you say it's not healthcare, but even psychology, is that not a health related issue? Isn't that, if that's what you're discussing, that, I mean, I understand privilege, I totally get it. I guess I'm just, I like wanna make sure, this is normal for school districts to pay for around the clock boarding school for a student.
It doesn't happen often, but because, and I think what Director Dowdett was stating was the educational needs of the student require the student's needs to be served in a higher level of care. And I totally understand what you're saying is it sounds medical, but we're talking about first the educational needs and how do we best serve them, and because we can't serve them in all of these options, this is the highest level of educational means to serve them. And yes, there is a residential component, and yes, districts, not often, but can have to pay for the residential and the educational components. It happens, I don't know how many kids we currently have placed, but if you ask districts, many of the larger districts, it's not unusual to have this because they can't meet their educational needs in what's available, and so it does require a higher level of care. It's an educationally based placement, but there's a residential care component that's attached to it.
That we're on the hook for.
Yes, that we are obligated to pay for.
Okay.
And a lot of times those unique facilities or those high needs facilities aren't local. And so you have no other option but to transport, and sometimes it's not feasible. Whereas like going down to Sacramento is not that big of a deal for driving back and forth. Some of these unique facilities that have even more significant supports aren't anywhere local. And we have out-of-state placements too, but that's just where those unique facilities that will best meet the needs of that particular student are. And because that's what's the educational benefit is for that student to go to that particular facility, then we are responsible for all the costs that are around that, if that makes sense. Not really. But anyways, okay.
The words you say make sense. I'm just trying to like wrap my head around it, like in the sense that if I was a student now and I'm like, look, I could learn so much better at the University of Paris and Caen, Normandy, and that is where my education will be served. Like, I mean, I get it. I'm making a drastic change, but I guess the question is.
I think maybe like if you wanted to sit down with like you or Mrs. Davitt and maybe get like an example of what the needs of these kids are, of like this would be appropriate placement for this particular kid, but if this kid had this type of behavior, this would be it. So you kind of have like a foundational understanding of why and what. Maybe that might be beneficial.
And it does sound extreme for a school district to have to pay for a residential. However, there is definitely case law that has demonstrated that it is our obligation. Again, we're looking at the educational component, and again, it's one on a level, continuum level. It is probably the highest educational level and requirements that a district is obligated to provide, and so
Most restrictive.
yeah, it is the most restrictive. And so, but I completely understand because it's again, it doesn't happen often, but it is happening. I'd say it's happening more frequently, actually, to tell you the truth.
And do we have any kind of feedback as far as the success of it is? Like,
Yes, so we're obligated. Liz travels.
I've traveled 5 states in one
she
day.
travels. So we're obligated to go and visit and
Yeah.
ensure that students are safe. And so, yes, we have we have had students return and be very successful. So as soon as they're able to return back to be served at a lower level, we get them back as soon as possible. And so there's frequent check-ins, there's the IEP meetings, but Liz actually travels to Utah and Colorado to go visit our students when they're placed. There's a legal obligation for us to do that, and Liz does that. So, yes, but there is evidence that they have shown efficacy, and those students are returned to us, and then we're able to serve them.
okay, because then it would say if there was an efficacy, if there was, like, we're looking at the students and how they're progressing. If they're not, then the question would be, well, maybe we need to go a different route, right?
So Liz, I'm going to ask you a question because I believe, and my facts may not be accurate, but the students that we had placed in the last 2 years in non-public school residentials have returned and have been successful. So I'm thinking of our diploma-bound student
Yes, and they completed their diploma.
right, yeah. So they were able to come back to us and receive their diploma. So we haven't had, I don't believe we've had a student not return to us.
No, I have not.
Right, okay.
I have not.
Okay, and Cinnamon Hills is the residential, but none of these others are?
Correct.
Point Quest and Cadian,
Those are all day programs.
okay, Rising Star, obviously, okay. Thank you for answering my questions.
Your motion.
I make a motion we approve.
Second.
A motion by member Cianciola, second by member Lamb. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. K, declaration of need for the 25-26 school year.
So this is an annual declaration that's made to the Commission on Teacher Credentialing anytime the district finds the need to utilize emergency specialized credentials, intern credentials to fill vacancies where we don't have a candidate pool of fully credentialed teachers. And so even with the Grow Your Own programs, things like that we were just discussing, as they are becoming fully credentialed, we continue to submit this declaration of need until they are. And so this is the annual declaration.
And hopefully next year we won't need to do one.
And Jordan, this is a revision, right? So we've already submitted, so this is a revised version based upon current information.
And we're still providing a lot of support for those teachers who are not yet
Yes.
credentialed.
Through our induction program.
Any questions? Any motion?
I move to approve.
Second.
Motion by member Bonset, second by member Cianciola. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. L, classified supervisor salary schedule update.
And so we previously looked at the salary increases to the salary schedule. The classified supervisor was not included on that salary schedule at the time. It's a position that we've not filled in the district since 2022, but are looking to utilize in the future. And so we have returned it to that salary schedule and updated it to reflect the increases that have occurred since 2022.
Is this a position that would be here at the district office?
This is for the supervision of the after-school programs.
Okay, so we're looking at adding another entity here to the district office.
It'd be replacing the one we had previously. Yeah, so
But we haven't had one since 2022.
It was a certificated
So we have a
position.
certificated person in place for, after Danielle Schmidt left, and so we have a certificated person.
Okay,
there.
gotcha.
Now he's going back to classified.
Okay, that makes sense.
Can I get a motion if there's no other questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by member Ciola, second by member Bonsley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. M, contracted management salary schedule.
So in accordance with the assistant superintendent's contracts, the contracted management salary schedule is increasing 2.57% for the 24-25 and 0.5% for the 25-26 school years.
Any questions? No. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by member Ciola, second by member Lamb. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. And first reading of proposed revisions.
Thank you. So I bring forward the next set of board policies that have that are needing revision, and the index is included. This is a first read, and we'll come back at the first meeting in August for second read and recommendation for approval. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I have a question about policy 4040. It's page 8 of 66. This is the policy for employee use of technology. On the bottom part of that, I just want to clarify. Second to bottom paragraph on what's typed in as page 6. The superintendent or designee shall annually notify employees in writing that they have no reasonable expectation of privacy in the use of any district technology as defined above, even when using their personal devices. So, I'm just saying, on their personal devices, for example, an example of district technology on their personal devices might be email, like using an Exchange server on your phone for email. Would that be included in that technology?
Right.
I'm trying to make sure I understand what district technology and would be.
Right, so let me use an example. My phone, I have access to my email system, and so I know that by using my personal device, it is, I have no,
Reasonable expectation for privacy.
yes,
Okay.
But just as it pertains to the email on the district.
the district
The
email.
district email.
Same type of thing if I did my grade book at home on my personal
Correct.
computer.
So, to ensure proper use, the superintendent or designee may monitor employee usage of district technology at any time without advance notice or consent, and for any reason allowed by law. Okay.
Would that also encompass Wi-Fi? Like if we're on school Wi-Fi, right? Then it's like anything you're accessing. It doesn't matter if it's school email or school website.
Correct.
Or personal,
Yeah.
because you are accessing the Wi-Fi technology, all of your browsing, etc., is accessible.
Right, and we have the right to, at any point in time, do a search, look, so.
Right. And this is standard protocol that teachers get that communication, and they are like, oh yeah.
Do you want to speak
I
to
think this is standard protocol for almost any business, actually. You
It
work
is.
in any place now and they have access to your emails and stuff. If you're using their Wi-Fi or using that, I think this is protocol for anything almost.
So they do sign affirmatively at the time of hire that they understand the employees' expectations for technology. There are also annual notifications to them as part of the board policy. When there are significant changes to the board policy, they are then presented and re-sign that employee use agreement, which should these changes go forward, and after that time, we would be doing it again for all employees, including existing.
And do we do that kind of like regular monitoring for material that would be against protocol? I mean, is that part of the IT department that kind of, I mean, hopefully we've got firewalls and locks in place for.
Filters,
Yeah, they do.
absolutely, yeah, so we actively manage that part of it, and yeah, I can't go into too much more detail, because I'm not necessarily qualified to speak to it, but we definitely have the filters, prohibit certain size, that kind of stuff, and of course, there's I believe some auditing that goes on as far as, if we had to go back and look, you know, at somebody's usage, we could do that.
Okay.
And in some cases, they go a little too far because kids can't research things that they're asked to
There's
research.
a lot of that,
because-
so that's a constant battle, to be honest with you.
And probably will always
Update
be.
the
Yeah.
filter.
Cause it could be one word
Yeah.
that's
Right.
on one word
Yeah.
block.
that, I mean, like if gun is a word, you're not gonna get anything with
I
that.
remember when I had a club
Paper
that was
club.
teaching kids how to knit and crochet,
Yeah.
and a student wanted to have a pattern for a lacy shawl. The word lacy would not go through.
Mhm.
Could not get a pattern with anything that had lace in the word because that's kinky, I guess.
Oh. So we pull out the thesaurus
Right,
and say eyelet, or
right.
yeah. Hey, that's good for English. You know, some strong adjectives there. Okay, so my next question is with regards to Regulation 5144.1, suspension and expulsion, due process. My question is on page 20. It's typed 20 on the page on the regulation. It's just a clarification. Above the additional grounds for suspension and expulsion, grade 4 through 12. Above that, in new writing, a student may not be suspended or expelled for disruption or willful defiance.
State law.
So how is disruption, wouldn't terrorist threats or wouldn't that be a disruption?
No, so there is an actual code related to terrorist threats that would be suspendable. So
Right.
this is the student.
48900.
Right, so this is the student who is just, disrupting the class by shouting out. You can't suspend for that.
Or expel them.
Correct.
Okay.
So I'm saying,
So unless the disruptions are in 48900 listed out in that way, it could be a number of disruptions. And then it's just not expelling or suspending, it's other disciplinary action.
and in-house suspension, correct.
Well, wouldn't
They'll
that be
send them to-
suspension?
Well,
They'll send them to in-house
There's different-
suspension, will they send them there?
I think so. I think the thing would be is if a student is committed an offense, so we have to be very specific about the definition of what the offense is. If it's a threat, it's a fight, those things are suspendable. But if a student, again, this is about the student who, I'm gonna use this word, and I don't mean it, but I'm gonna use it. So the annoying student who's just blurting out, it's the student who refuses to
Sit still.
yeah, those kinds of things. So those are the things that prior to, and I think this is why this law is in place, there was a perception that we were suspending kids too frequently for those types of behaviors. So this now limits our ability to do those types of suspensions. And really, if we're going to use a suspension or suspend a student and have them not come to school, it's got to be for I'm going to use the term big ticket item.
Okay.
But teachers are still allowed by state law to suspend a student for up to 2 days from their class. So
But there's
that goes to
requirements.
in-house suspension, it's not an actual out-of-school suspension.
But there's requirements though that
Right.
the teachers have to go through in order to be able to do that.
Right.
Part of that is that you have to have a parent-teacher conference before you remove them again.
Right.
Before the second day or
You
something.
can't just be like, you're on my nerves, get out of here.
Yeah.
Correct.
Those are all my questions with regards to policy. Gasp.
Yay.
Now you all can ask it.
Okay.
These will come back for second read and approval at the next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alright, oh, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services salary comp.
Yes, thank you. So, this is, I just blanked on your name, I'm sorry. Assistant Superintendent Bentley's contract. He received a favorable evaluation for the 24-25 school year, and am bringing forward approval for his advancement.
If there's no questions, can I get
I make a motion we approve.
a motion by member Ciola, second by member Lamb, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Well earned, congratulations.
Thank you.
Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services.
Yes, this is for Assistant Superintendent Tino Flores, again received a. Isn't that called? Flores? Sorry.
That's a cool name.
I was going Florentino, so sorry.
The first floor I've ever had.
Sorry. Tino Goose, sorry, again, received a favorable evaluation for the 24-25 school year, and so this by contract brings forward an advancement on the salary schedule. My apologies, Tino.
I move that we approve.
Second.
A motion by member
You can see it's
second
totally
by member
contentious.
Noah, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Congratulations.
13, are there any board reports? I don't think so.
I did Twin Rivers beginning of the month. They're busy with school improvements right now, just upgrading facilities, typical summer stuff. They've strong with attendance, and they're also really working on honing in on some of their policies for dress code, just overall rules, but dress code is a big deal because just people want to break the dress code rule. They're really coming back to it is what it is, the rules, and
Aren't they uniform?
they're uniform, but you still have a dress code, like as far
When-
as socks and shoes.
When are they gonna let people know who's getting in?
They should have already done that.
There's maybe.
I
I was just curious.
don't know about that one. I know they had a big lottery, so
Yeah, I know a few people that are waiting.
I would assume if you don't know, that you're probably not in. There'd be a lot of assumption.
That's good. Sounds like they're doing a good job.
They are.
I have a question. Well, it's not a question, it's kind of a comment. Living next to Lindcrest as I do, I noticed that those big beautiful trees are now gone. Driving down Stabler, I noticed those big beautiful trees are now gone. But I don't see any of the structures put up yet for the solar panels. Are those going to be going in while school is in session?
Take that, or you want me to?
No, I can take that, absolutely. So we are a go time for all solar, and we have a limited amount of time to get all this done. So the taking down trees is step one over the summer, and a lot of that work was done internally. Some of it on the bigger trees was contracted out. You're going to see a lot of activity at all our school sites throughout this year to get this done, and we've been talking to the principals about the impact of the school sites, trying to make it as minimal as possible, but it is going to be an impact.
I had some high school teachers ask me, because it looks like those will definitely be during the school year, and I told them, I said, well, better the high school kids deal with that disruption than elementary school kids. I think high school kids are a little bit better able to deal with that, but I was kind of surprised to not see it started.
Well, we were hoping, I would have loved to start day one, once this let out, but the timing of, DSA, all the approval process and engineering that goes into it, we're already on a tight time schedule. Best case scenario, we're hoping somewhere in the middle of summer to start, but we actually, I'm just glad we actually started. Out of all of it, there's a number of sets that would be very hard. Yuba-Sutter is one. And that we prioritize that for the first, and we're going to hopefully have the most impact done before the first day of school, but it still is going to be an impact. AK is also going to be a very impactful site as well. We know that, and again, we're doing our best to work with the principals to mitigate that. We have, as the principals come back, we're going to kind of get everybody up to date as far as what our timelines are looking like for each of the school sites, because it has been changing. It really has to do with which schools are getting approved first, because then we can dig into those,
Right. Well, the ones, Butte Vista has Blevin, which is a very narrow road, huge traffic issues, getting in and out. Lindcrest, same thing. So and I'm thinking, where are the teachers going to park while their parking areas are completely disrupted because they're putting solar panels above the parking? So
I can speak to Butte Vista because
it's another reason to open up those.
Yeah, so that I was just thinking the same thing. We're going to be opening up those gates, Shelley, on the back sides and on the sides. So I think for example, Butte Vista. I spoke with Mark. I live in that area. And so they're working to try to the through lane will continue, so being able to drop off, the drop off lane will continue. So their goal is to try to get in there quickly to be able to open up at least a portion of the parking lot in order for on the first day of school, because I know what the first day of school at Butte Vista looks like. So they're planning on those things. It's not going to be perfect. That's why in the letters that we've drafted for the principals, in the press releases, we're asking families to walk to school, to carpool. As much as possible, because we understand there's going to be congestion. So I think they're working on that. They're recognizing they need to have possibly some parking for staff. It just will depend on the timing.
So also, as this phases, even at a particular school site, the biggest footprint that we're going to be taking up is typically about 3 weeks. That's when they're drilling the pylons down and cement pours and getting the structures up. Then that's the next couple of weeks shrinks significantly, and we're hoping that the biggest input should be about 6 weeks, and then it really gets down to small inputs where we can open up more of the parking lot. So again, not ideal, not perfect, but we will get through this. A lot of it has to do with communication. So this is where we're starting our just getting press release out to the newspapers, put it on our website. Each school, as they get teed up, will have, we have kind of letter templates going out.
And don't forget to send that same communication out to the staff, both teachers and classified, because they may not be aware that where they always park is not going to.
Yes, and so that is one of the things that we've already drafted, and then the principals and we've talked with staff about the biggest. This will be successful with good communication. So that's why everything's been drafted, it's been sent out. And Shelley, just to address the trees. So trust me, trees, Scott.
I love trees.
Yes, and it's been my anxiety. I know this community as it relates to trees. So we actually have because of the way the panels sit, you have to have. So we actually have a landscape architect who's going to come in to look at that so this was my request to soften and to make the schools as inviting as possible with these big solar panels. There's no way around it. So we are going to have some renderings and some ways to replace plants and trees, flower beds, because I understand, it is, trust me, Scott's.
Well, and
Scott got a dose of me because I was surprised because, again,
I've already
I get
apologized to several people who contacted me because we didn't have the foresight to build the shade structures we put up strong enough to hold these solar panels. That would have been the smarter way to go about it, and we just didn't have the foresight to do that.
2 separate projects though, right?
Yeah, I don't know if you'd want, your solar panels right above your kids. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know.
I don't know. So there's all kinds of things about solar panels I just don't know. But, I think that
paid for by the COVID money.
Sounds COVID money,
Yeah.
Right,
So-
but if they were built a little bit stronger, maybe we wouldn't have had to tear down the trees to put
They
up
would
more
have to-
structures.
They would have had to build like 10 times stronger. It would have been a whole different project.
In the
But
long
I
run,
understand what you're
though,
saying. It's a
the staff is going to have shade.
Yes, and they're gonna love it. And
They're
no-
going to love parking under
Yes.
those panels.
And
because
no
it's
birds
shady.
pooping on the car.
I am well aware of trees, Shelley, so we're trying to.
When we
They're
were first
working around
talking
that.
about
It's not
this,
hooking.
one of the suggestions was that we had students plant, the students during the year plant new trees around. Remember when we were talking about this way back when? Somebody suggested that,
But so we are. So the
but
plan
you get the
is,
kids involved.
and that's a possibility. It would take some effort to kind of coordinate all that part of which I'm not sure how that would work, but we can think about that.
Maybe they can start grafting trees.
That's right. Biology is get that going on.
That'd be awesome, I'll buy some.
The landscape
Use Arbor
architect is going to provide the plans. They're not going to necessarily do the work.
Right.
So we do have the ability to.
Yeah.
We actually plan to do the work internally, whether that's through students or our grounds crew. But still, we are going to do that work internally.
Awesome. Okay, written communications from the public?
There are none.
None. Okay, comments from reps. Hello.
Happy almost end of summer vacation. It's been so nice and cool this last week. I don't know what we're gonna do when I get hot again. I'm gonna go backwards because I'm gonna start with the parking communication. Maybe one of the things that we could do is some brainstorming on how people can
ride share to work, like at Vista, for example, they could all go park at the Bel Air and then like pile in one person's car and drive to work.
Good idea.
We might want to reach out to our community partners, ask if, you know, taking up some of their parking spaces during that construction would be something that we could do. And then we could, you know, give them shout out in our on our website or whatever.
Good idea.
Because that's going to be the most stressful thing for our staff, is going to be like, okay, great, you've told me that my parking lot's closed. Where would you like me to go? And in places like Glencrest and Butte Vista, where it's all neighborhood, there's not a lot of options for where they can park. So just a thought. And then I just wanted to recognize Board President Domi. I agree with you, and thank you to Tino and Liz who left. But thank you for finding people who will come in and work in person with our students. It's such a huge relief to know that students on IEPs are going to be getting in-person instruction rather than something digital. That's been a very stressful component of this shortage in staffing. And then on that note, I hope that we can continue to work together to make Yuba City Unified School District the most attractive place for teachers to work, so that as we move forward through a potential teacher shortage crisis in the future, that people are going to want to come here and work with all of us, because this is an amazing place to be.
Amen.
And that is all I have to say tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any more comments from board members? No? Okay. Comments from the superintendent?
I just wanted to do a shout out. Our staff did an amazing job with summer school. You can see that we had 31 graduates. We also had multiple kids served at the elementary level and middle school level. And so our staff did a great job of pulling that off and making it happen. And some of you got to see the Lego robotics that Nancy Contreras did and the excitement with that. But the other thing is our maintenance facility crew and janitors, custodial staff right now are working really hard to get the schools ready, and they are, I don't know how they're pulling it off, but they are pulling it off, and you know, getting the Central Gaither site ready for the non-public school, getting the solar project off the ground, and on top of it, getting the classrooms ready. It is huge. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're working hard, and they all, you know, manage to keep a smile on their face. And
our technology staff is
yes, our IT staff. So, and our, you know, Chelsea is gearing up, and so I just have to say we have a group of amazing staff who are going to make the first day of school very inviting for our kids. So there'll be some bumps. There might be some trees down. I appreciate that, Shelley. But again, thanks to our staff, because without them, this could not happen. And it's a lot. It's a lot. So, yeah, floors being shined and gym floors, and it's all good. Clean. So, but thank you to our staff.
Awesome. All right, next board meeting is going to be August 12th at 7 p.m. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Second. Motion by member Cianciela, second by member Bonflet. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Yuba-Sutter.Live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
the truth that comes through.